Gear up for Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. It's your final word on sports all across the state. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now here are your hosts, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
I think we can match up with anybody we play if we play well. And we have to pitch. I mean, everything has to be clicking.
You know, he's enjoying it. He's not putting all that pressure on his shoulders. You know, that's a kid that, you know, he has extremely high expectations for himself as a hitter.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome back into Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, on a very special night from Greenville. Just a few weeks here for some exciting basketball. Now we're back up in Greenville at the Hyatt Regency for a very special night, the annual induction ceremony for the 5th South Carolina Football Hall of Fame class. And we have got some huge, huge names going into the Hall of Fame this year, including Doc Blanchard, one of the most historic all of college football history, who, if you didn't know, actually grew up in McCall, South Carolina, over in the PD section of South Carolina. Charlie Brown, the former South Carolina State great, Washington Murray, just talking to the coach a couple of moments ago. He's going into the Hall of Fame. Former Clemson star and Pittsburgh Steelers standout Levon Kirkland, and, of course, Dick Sheridan, one of the all-time great coaches in our states at both the high school level. In fact, Coach Sheridan is making his way over to us right now, and we're going to talk to you. He doesn't know that. Yeah. Put that little headset on after he talks to Fisher DeBerry. We're going to jump right in with Coach Sheridan. K-Mac is in our studios back in Columbia. What's happening back there while we wait for Coach Sheridan?
Oh, we are just holding it down here on a beautiful day in the capital city. A lot of people out and about downtown, and we're hunkering down. Looking forward to tonight. This is one of those shows where I like to just sit back and listen to the who's who, the royalty of football in our state that roll through there in that great event that you always draw the straw to attend every year. I need to go up there and hitchhike in the Sports Talk Pinto and go with you one year. But looking forward to tonight's show, Corn. It's always one of my favorite shows of the year.
Absolutely. Let's get rolling because Coach Dick Sheridan at the Hyatt. Good evening and congratulations.
Well, thank you, Bill. Congratulations to you.
Well, I haven't done anything.
Doing it all your
Well, I'm upright and I'm breathing, so that's worth some sort of congratulations.
That's what I tell people, too.
Absolutely, but you look great as always, man. I tell you, you either were old-looking when you were young or you're young-looking as you've gotten a little older, but you do look great.
Thank you. You do, too. I tell people the former.
Yeah. You know, you really are. You have always been such a humble guy. What's it like for you when you go into these Hall of Fames, because you're in multiple and you're honored by people for your life's work? I mean, I know you appreciate it, but you've never been one to put yourself ahead of the team.
Well, football is the ultimate team sport, and you don't have these honors without the hard work and the help of a lot of people, your coaches and players. I mean, it's easy to be humble when you realize that that's the case.
Yes, absolutely. Today's world in sports, though, so much emphasis on recruiting and star ratings and this sort of thing. You start to wonder, is it more about the athleticism of the players or coaching? Has coaching lost some of its importance because the athletes today maybe are just so good individually, athletically?
Well, I hope not. I hope it hadn't lost its place. But, you know, I had someone ask me recently, how did Furman, when I was at Furman, how did y'all beat South Carolina, Georgia Tech, and NC State a couple of times, 4 years in a row? And I said we had better players. and I believe that because they weren't the better players as seniors in high school because they didn't recruited by any of those schools. But as juniors and seniors, they were just as good or better, in my opinion.
So you believed in development, the importance
Absolutely.
of taking what you had, working with it, and taking it up a couple of notches.
I do. I believe in improvement and development. And we made a living with a lot of players that a lot of the larger schools thought were too short.
Yeah.
And they weren't.
And too slow, too short and too slow.
Short and too slow, and they got faster. But a lot, I found that sometimes being shorter than your opponent was an advantage, not a disadvantage, particularly if you got a block.
Now, why is that?
Well, I believe in pads under pads, leverage. And a quick story, Clay Hendricks, after playing, he was a graduate assistant for us at NC State. And there was a picture in the paper that last year we played him. He was a right guard, and he had blocked one of NC State's players who was 100 pounds stronger, higher, more. And when Clay was a graduate assistant, he had the gall to get this guy an autograph picture.
Just because he could say, I showed you.
That's right.
Speaking of, how do you think Clay's going to work out as Furman's new head coach?
I think he'll do a great job. He's not only smart but hard. He knows and will fit at Furman. Of course, I'm close to Bruce Fowler too. I have the utmost respect for him, and another one of my players. And so I talked just recently to Bruce. He's moved to Florida, and but one of my favorite people. If you want your program run ethically and by the rules, and it really interests in your players graduating, and you can't find a better coach than Bruce Fowler. But Clay's the same way.
Sure.
So I have great confidence that Clay is going to do an outstanding job.
Can Furman get back to where it once was, because the landscape has changed, the competition's gotten greater, maybe it's harder to get the athletes with the academics together into Furman like maybe you were able to do at one point?
I certainly hope so. I found that you've got to face those liabilities head on and hopefully turn them into something that you can use in a positive way. I read something recently in the first media guide that we had my first year, and someone had written in there that we had the fewest scholarships, the smallest budget, and that the facilities were not that great either, and that we had a lot of liabilities, and then they asked me about it. I said, well, we hope to turn those into good things, because if we have the highest academic requirements, that can be something that can be a positive when you're recruiting a player. His parents would like that.
Sure, absolutely.
So a lot of those things, I think we were able to really turn into some good things, because if you have fewer scholarships, you're gonna have a chance.
Absolutely.
There are gonna be fewer people.
Did you ever come close to becoming football coach at USC?
Yes, I actually don't tell many people this. Never asked it really, but I was offered the job twice, and it was right after I'd turned down Georgia and made the commitment to stay at NC State, and then after I got sick, I was offered the job, and I still was not in a position health-wise to take another job.
Had you been healthy, would you have taken it?
Yes.
Do you regret it?
I regret not being healthy.
Could you have won at South Carolina?
I think time only will tell. In fact, I was up at NC State recently for a get-together, and somebody, it was from Washington, D.C., was there, and he said, I don't remember this. He said, I came and spoke at the Wolfpack Club in Washington. Yeah. He said, you're so soft-spoken and all. Are you tough enough to turn this thing around? Yeah. And I said, we'll have to see.
Yeah. And I think you proved them wrong.
And so a lot of those questions, you'll have to see. I can't say yes or no. Yeah. Only time would have told that that whether that could be done or not. But certainly was something that I would have done if I had felt like from
you on everything that you've accomplished in your life, in your coaching life, and we thank you for coming over and visiting with us for a couple of minutes.
Well, it's fun to see you again. We go back a long way.
We do. We do, and I always enjoy seeing you.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir. All right, Dick Sheridan going into the Hall of Fame here tonight. Charlie Brown coming up in just a moment. We thank Coach Sheridan. I didn't know that information about South Carolina. He's such a private guy. I'm a little surprised he shared it with us. I'm glad he did. We'll come back and chat with Charlie Brown coming up in a moment. Okay, we're back. Sports Talk tonight from up in Greenville as well as Columbia. Of course, we haven't forgotten big baseball, South Carolina and Florida getting underway a little more than an hour from now down in Gainesville. We'll talk about that coming up. Of course, recruiting coming your way. Mike Morgan on the move will be coming up here at the bottom of the hour. USC quarterback, ex-quarterback Perry Orth at 7:05 tonight. Well, a lot of great stuff for you. And another person going into the Hall of Fame tonight. This is the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame, the 5th class. We just talked with Dick Sheridan. And now we welcome former South Star receiver Charlie Brown to a Sports Talk with us. And I've already congratulated you once before on the Hall of Fame. That was the State of South Carolina Hall of Fame.
Yes.
And now this one. So congratulations once again.
Well, thank you very much, Phil. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here.
Isn't it great just to be remembered by the people in your state?
I'll tell you what, the state of South Carolina has so many tremendous athletes and coaches, and I'm just glad I'm part of that group.
This group right here that you're going in with, too, you talk about Coach DeBerry, the others, Von Kirkland.
Yes.
Great group.
Yeah. I mean, it's an awesome group. It's probably one of the best class, and people who pick these guys have done a tremendous job. And, you know, it's just an honor to be in the same class with these guys. These guys are legends.
How about you have reached the pinnacle playing in the NFL and excelling,
yes,
winning 2 Super Bowls,
yes,
coming from the very small St. John's High School with Coach
yes.
Bob Bickerstaff, going to South Carolina State. I mean, you took a very tough road to get there. How did you make it happen?
Well, it's all about perseverance and have great coaches, great people in my life. South Carolina State really paved the way for me, you know, for the likes of Harry Carson, Marion Motley, Deacon Jones, you know, John Gilliam, just to name a few.
Yeah.
But, you know, you go to South Carolina State, the first reason why you go there is to get a great education.
All right, I think we've lost the line there momentarily up in Greenville. So once we get back connected with Cornblue, we will head back down there to continue that interview. Hopefully we can get that back up and running momentarily. I think we have him. Let's go back to him now, Jared.
Okay. Sorry about that. Our line dropped out momentarily. I was saying, Charlie, South Carolina State and the players that you just mentioned, it's amazing what that school did back in those days, producing phenomenal NFL-level talent. Where did it all come from? How did it happen?
Well, I think, you know, Coach Willie Jeffries and the coaches prior to Coach Jeffries had everything to do with it. And those guys, you know, paved the road for us. They set the examples. You know, I mentioned Harry Carson, Marion Motley, Deacon Jones, John Gilliam, just to name a few. And, you know, we just had a road to follow. You know, it's just like following the yellow brick road. But, you know, I was blue and those guys did a great job. You know, I spoke about the education at South Carolina State. You know, that was our primary reason for going there to the university. And then the next reason is to be NFL ready. And that's how we, you know, thought about our NFL careers.
Mm-hmm. Who worked with you from a receiver standpoint? Now, at St. John's, were you one of those, quote, athletes who played all over the place? Were you strictly a receiver? And then who worked with you at State to help develop you in terms of your receiving skills?
Well, under Bob Bickerstaff at St. John's, I did play wide receiver and defensive back, and a lot of people don't know this. I was probably a better defensive back, free safety, and I still hold the record for 4 interceptions in one game, and probably still have the stat of making all region, all conference on offense and defense. Then at South Carolina State, I had a coach by the name of Robert Jet Johnson. I mean, he was my heart and soul. And he coached with a lot of passion. Coach Willie Simon, who's getting inducted into the Athletic Hall of Fame, South Carolina. You know, those 2 guys really helped me a great deal along with Ragland. So I was blessed to have great coaches. But the thing that really got me over the top, other than the coaches, the defensive backs was just Rufus Bass, Leonard Duncan, Dexter Klinkskill, William Judson, Bonnie Bussey.
Yeah.
You know, I had to compete against these guys every day in practice. And then for the game, I had Roynell Young, who's a first-round pick out of Alcorn, Leslie Frazier, who's been a head coach with the Chicago Bears, Minnesota Vikings, and then Everson Wall, you know, at Dallas. You know, I had to play against these guys, so that got me NFL ready.
So get to the NFL, and you're playing for Joe Gibbs, and my goodness, you and you play levels. It doesn't get any better than those three.
Absolutely. And that's the great thing about it. I had great tutelage from all three of these guys, you know, which propelled my career. You know, when I left St. John's, I said, I've seen this picture, I've seen this movie before from Coach Jeffries. Yeah. And then went up to the Redskins under Coach Gibbs. Okay, game philosophy, you know, a lot of discipline, loving, have a great style, very competitive.
Yeah.
Green.
What was Joe Gibbs like in meeting room, on practice field, him now in NASCAR?
Yes.
He's very successful there.
Yeah.
He's a very religious man, like the type of guy who use a curse word.
Never.
In practice. When you did something wrong, how would he point across?
Well, Coach number one was a very guy. That's how far as the mentality of our team. Very serious, loves to coach with a passion. You know, controls his meetings very well. We didn't have any guys to get out of hand, as you see so many guys do today. And he had an awesome staff. I mean, this guy, I know they say there's no genius other than our Lord and Savior. But in the football world, this guy was special. I mean, he was special. And, you know, thanks to him.
About playing for an organization like the Redskins with their fan base and their following.
Man, I tell you what, you know, there was so much adrenaline when you're playing an RFK. And our fans, you know, I can truly say this, the best fans ever. You know, they have so much pride. They treated us like rock stars. Really added that extra dimension as far as having that 12th guy there. And we just couldn't let them down. You know, we felt like whenever we were playing at home, we had an advantage over teams because we just knew we were going to win, and we didn't think nobody can beat us.
Can you sing Hail to the Redskins?
Well, I know Hail to the Redskins, fight for old DC.
That's a great song, isn't it?
It's an awesome sound. We're the only team in the NFL that has a band.
Does it bother you? Or do you have an opinion about the controversy over the name?
Never did. Never did. I have a lot of pride in that name. That name is what Charlie Brown is. You know, that logo. You know, and I express my feelings towards a lot of people in reference to that. You know, I just thought, you know, it didn't make any sense to even put up. But, you know, you be careful because certain people have certain emotions. But, you know, all of the Native Americans that I spoke with, you know, which there's a lot in Lumberton, South Carolina, and I spoke in front of a lot of them. I mean, they love that logo. They love the Redskins name.
Well, listen, congratulations to you once again. What a great career that you have had.
Thank you.
Throughout the state of South Carolina, your name is gold.
Well, thank you.
Even coached some high school ball here in South Carolina at one time. You're going to get back on the sideline one day?
Well, I don't know. I'm working with Dean Boyd out in Marlborough County. Great tradition there.
Oh, my gosh, Dr. Dean.
Yeah, Dean, I tell you what, man, if you're around that guy, you're going to learn a lot of football. I'm assisting him. I'm a consultant there.
Very good.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for the time, and congratulations once again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you as always.
Okay.
Our pleasure. Charlie Brown, one of South Carolina's all-time greats, and out. And we thank him for being with us. And we'll be back. They're telling me Deshaun Watson's going to be here about 15 minutes or so. So hopefully we'll get a couple of minutes with him when he gets here. And we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network Football Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. Thanks to Charlie Brown. Thanks to Dick Sheridan. Deshaun Watson has not arrived yet to us once he gets here. Hopefully that will happen within the next 15, 20 minutes or so. We won't have him for very long. As you can imagine, they've got him on a very short schedule here because they're going to be cranking up things right about now inside the banquet hall, and they want him inside and involved with all of that. So we'll get him to you as soon as we can. Recruiting coming up, Perry Orth as well. But right now it is time for Morgan on the Move as Mike Morgan joins us here on Sports Talk as he does on a Thursday night. Talk a little baseball, a little Braves, a little college baseball. And Mike is brought to you by Play It Again Sports in Columbia, where you can find golf equipment, fitness equipment, water sports, and a whole bunch more. It's located at Bower Parkway in Harbison. Buy, sell, and trade what you want. And also by Founders Federal Credit Union. Check out FoundersFCU.com and learn how they can assist you of your financial needs. All right, South Carolina taking on Florida tonight in about an hour in Gainesville. Mike joining us now. Of course, he's very familiar with both teams. Let's welcome him into the pro. Have baseball yourself this weekend?
You know what? I'm proud to say that I have my first weekend off since I think November. So I am going to sit back, relax the beach, and maybe watch a little baseball.
That sounds sweet. We'll set up for us based on your firsthand knowledge of the Gamecocks and the Gators. Set up for us this big Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. It's a big series for both teams because they've got the same league record right now.
It really is, and some might argue it's a series of two teams that have not exactly lived up to the expectations coming in. I get a chance to work with a lot of different quality analysts. One of the guys that I just worked with this past weekend on a series is a guy named Mike Rooney, who covers the sport really nationally as well, if not better than anybody. When he was talking about Florida's pitching staff, he said, Mike, I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say 1 through 12, this is the best pitching staff in terms of pure stuff that I've ever seen in the history of college baseball. And if you talk to scouts, that's not a wild claim. I mean, it's all these guys that they're able to throw out there just have ridiculous stuff, one after the other after the other. So you say, well, why isn't Florida's record better? Well, they just weren't hitting for the longest time. And you could say the same thing about South Carolina. So I think you're going to see a low-scoring series. I think defense, somebody makes a key boot in the field, certainly could change the complexion of the game. But one of these offenses has to come through with some timely hitting. That's really been the knock on both of them this year. I think it's going to be a very competitive series. Two teams, again, that have outstanding starting pitching. I just think Florida, and for the first time in a while, Florida's starting baseball better.
Yeah, you're right. In their last 5 games, their team batting average is .304. Brian Larson in those last 5 games hitting .450. Austin Langworthy hitting .400. So they indeed are starting to hit. I think after their win over Davidson 3-2, Mike, I think he sort of resigned to the fact that they're not going to score. The Gamecocks I'm talking about, they're not going to be a team that's going to score a bunch of runs. And his hope is they can play defense, pitch well, and have Tyler Johnson ready to go every night now in that 9th inning to close out wins for him.
I think that's an astute observation on his part. I think at this point, in a lot of ways, your offense is what it is. Some teams that were really good on offense started out slow and then are coming around now. Some teams were just never that good at offense to begin with. I think in the case of South Carolina, this is not a lethal lineup. But we do know, following the history of college baseball, you don't have to have lethal lineup to go to Omaha to win the whole thing. I mean, you just don't have to be chock full of sluggers or incredible prospects. You have to be able to grind out at bats. You have to be able to win close games, and obviously you have to have great pitching. So this is why I don't hit the panic button when I look at South Carolina. Every time they lose a game, I know that the sky is falling. As long as those arms are going on the weekend, and as long as you've got a healthy Tyler Johnson out of the bullpen, I still feel like it's a team that if they get hot at the right time can do some damage.
Talking with Mike Morgan on the move. And, of course, Mike moves all around the SEC, so he has a feel for all the different fan bases and the teams. So I say that to set up this question for you, Mike, and you just hit on it a moment ago. The Gamecocks are 8-7. Florida's 8-7. Vandy is 7-8. We're talking league play. LSU's 9-6. A&M is 8-7. And my question is, you talked about the South Carolina fans feeling like every time the Gamecocks lose, it's catastrophic. Do other fan bases of these premier baseball programs, I'm talking Florida, Vandy, LSU, used to winning championships and going to Omaha, when their teams have the records like they have right now, are their fan bases going nutso as well?
Well, I'll put it this way. The only other fan base I know in this league that is this and be reactionary would be LSU. You know, Paul Maneri's already won a national title there, and I can tell you, and I've got a big series of Baton Rouge in a couple of weeks when they play Auburn, another surprise team. I can tell you that the vibe is they're disappointed. They're not happy. They don't think Paul Maneri's doing enough. You know, there's a talk about, is this Paul Maneri's last year? That was the talk before he won a national title, and now they're still talking about it. Why? Because Bertman won 5 titles. So you have a about it. I know Chad Holbrook doesn't feel this way necessarily. He really cares and is really passionate about college baseball. I can't say that about Florida. I can't say that about Vanderbilt. I can say it about LSU. What will your fan base, as a guy like Ray Tanner did in South Carolina, as a guy like Skip Bertman did at LSU, then all of a sudden, sometimes some of your fans feel like it's their birthright to go to Omaha every year. And that's just not reality for anybody.
No, it's not. It's not something that's a guaranteed particular year. And sometimes it's when you least. Let me ask you this now: Kentucky 10-5, Arkansas 11, and Mississippi State 10-5 in league play. Those 4 teams, do they have the staying power, you think, to stay up at the top of their respective divisions as the season wears on?
Well, I just had Kentucky this past weekend. I've had them a couple of times. I think they're for real. I had Arkansas at the very beginning of the season when they skipped Mississippi State. So those are the 2 teams that maybe have exceeded expectations as much as anybody. What Coach Mingione is doing there in Lexington, Kentucky, there's just something different about him. Everybody just wants to run through a wall through that guy. Now, you know, we could have the same conversation 3 years later, and maybe it's not the same way. Maybe that novelty wears off. But right now, he's got a talented, deep lineup, and he's got a couple of really good starting pitchers. Arkansas is hitting bombs at a record rate, and they've got 2 really good starting pitchers. So, yeah, I think both those teams are for real. I think this is as deep a league as we've seen in a while. The difference is we don't have a juggernaut. The SEC doesn't have a team right now that's going to be favored to win a national championship. We just have a lot of really good teams, a couple of which, if they get hot, certainly could win a national championship.
Okay, where are you vacationing this weekend?
I am over in the Panhandle, 30A, sandwiched in between Destin and Panama City. My first trip.
Sounds like a nice place to be. Enjoy yourself. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay, guys. Be good.
All right. Mike Morgan on the move here on Sports Talk, and some good stuff from Mike talking about the SEC baseball race. David Hood has come over to join us for 10 seconds. Where's Deshaun?
Running late as usual.
Well, that's not good.
No.
Go get him. You are in charge of Deshaun.
I'll go out and find him right now. I'll bring him in here. Do I need to text him and tell him you're waiting?
Yes, that would help.
I'll do that.
That would help. Thank you, David Hood. Good seeing you. And we'll be right back. Sports Talk from up in Greenville here at the College Football Hall of Fame induction ceremonies for the state of South Carolina. This is the 5th class going into the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame, and it's another esteemed group of players and coaches. We're told Deshaun Watson is now on premises, and we'll have him in here in a little bit to us before he heads out to do his thing inside the banquet hall. Maybe he's going to do a little television spot here first, and then we'll grab him. We won't have him for very long, I can tell you that, so we'll get a couple of, well, we hope are very solid questions. And K-Mac, what should I ask? What would you ask if you were sitting here on the hot seat?
To Deshaun? What would I ask?
Yeah, I mean, should I say, do you really want to go to the Jets?
Yeah,
should I
be
say,
like
do you
Deshaun.
really want to go to the
be honest.
Where do you really
you
want to
don't
go?
want to be a Cleveland Brown. I saw a mock draft that had him going to the Houston Texans today, and that might be a little further down than he would like. But boy, that's an organization that could really use a quarterback. Number one, they're not a train wreck. They have a very good defense. Like, he could step in there. I mean, to me, that would be kind of like the Dak Prescott stepping into Dallas. Like, I think Deshaun Watson's every bit the quarterback that Prescott is. Prescott was a beneficiary of going into a team that was pretty well established, had some good players. They drafted a really good running back, and he could step in there. So that'll be interesting to see how it all plays out for him.
That would be a reunion with I guess not a reunion, but Clemson
Yeah,
fans
he would have Nuke Hopkins.
with Hopkins, and they've got Lamar Miller, who put up the best running yards
and a great
in the second half of the
defense
season.
And a great defense,
A defense
as
that
well.
got them
And
to
he
the
would-
playoff.
He would have. He would get to face Clowney
he
finally
wouldn't have
in
to worry-
practice.
Yeah, he wouldn't have to worry about Clowney chasing him down during a game.
Right.
And you can't touch him in practice. So, well, there's a horde of TV people waiting to do a little gaggle with him. It's going to be time here. We'll play it by ear and see what happens. In the meantime, let's touch on a couple other things, K-Mac. Number one,
I need to be there. I could be in that
the
gaggle.
Clemson Board of Trustees. Clemson Board of Trustees extending Brad Brown's contract 2021. However, the flip side of that, reduced his amount significant. Then for next year, a little bit of a surprise thing. Extended the contract at the same time, look at it as a win-win. He an extra year is good on the resume from a recruiting standpoint.
Right.
Looks good, but they also get if things don't go and they feel like to make a change, they save a lot of money on the other side.
Right. Like also getting a prenup put in place as well. That's essentially what in here. You have to show a bit of a vote of confidence because everybody rumors and he's out recruiting, and he can at least tell mom and dad, hey, I have a contract extension. I'm going to be there the entire time your son's there. We know that Brad Brownell has to win next season or he's done. I mean, that's the bottom line. And by win, Corn, I don't think they can do anything in the NCAA tournament. I think if Clemson makes the NIT next year, I mean, maybe how they get there will matter, but I don't think they're going to accept an NIT, at least the fans right now. Brad Brownell, fair or not, that's where he is right now.
Agree with you because they made the NIT this year. Fans now, after seeing what South Carolina did, they're not going to be satisfied with an NIT appearance. They want to see mid to upper finish in the ACC and an NCAA tournament bid. And yeah, I agree with you. I think it's got to be NCAA or nothing. Mm-hmm. The new buyout now, it drops to $1.7 million before April 30th of next year. That's without any sort of mitigation. And then if he's relieved of his duties before April 30th of 20, it's down to $850,000, and then in 2020 it drops to $425,000. So
right,
that's quite a significant reduction from that standpoint from where it was. And on the exchange of that, Brownell gets an extra year to his contract, which has to make him feel good that they still believe in him enough to do that.
Yeah, I think Brad Brownell's a good coach, and it wouldn't shock me. Getting the NCAA tournament is so hard, and getting in that league is especially difficult. And Clemson, if a team's going to get snubbed at Selection Sunday. Teams like Clinton and South Carolina tend to be those teams and favor the blue blood like Syracuse or Florida or Kentucky. I mean, not that Kentucky has a hard time in, but you get my drift. But Brownell's a very good coach. He hasn't had a sniff of problems off the court. He graduates his players. I think he's a good developer of talent. They just ran into a bad luck last year. They had a bunch of buzzer beaters and tough breaks down the stretch of games. It's an unforgiving league, and they didn't quite get it done. But it's not like he's ran that thing into the ground. He's just in that purgatory. They want you to be one or the other. So if you're really bad, they know get rid of you. If you're really good, they're happy. If you're just stuck in the middle there, people get apathetic, and that's death if you're a coach, especially when you've been around for more than 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay.
The last couple of minutes here, and I'm going to go get this guy with Deshaun just to guarantee we'll have something with him for the next segment, because I'm sure we'll get him on live. So I'm going to turn it over to well, no, hang on a second.
Is he coming over?
He is going to go do he's going to go do radio here in the upstate, because he signed off in just a minute, but he's over at ESPN Upstate.
Mm-hmm.
They go off the air at 7, so he's gone over there first. Then I think he'll go do the gaggle, and then perhaps we'll get him at 7:06 to work with me. So I'm going to negotiate that here over a little bit. We'll
close the deal, seal it. Deal.
And I'm going to start crying and stomping my feet if I don't get my way here just a little bit. I'll just make a lot of noise. I'm going to go. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go into the banquet hall as they're introducing the inductees. I'm going to take off my clothes and go run crazily through the crowd.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
And I can't wait. They would have the little blurred out there. They would pixelate it. It would be a lot of fun. Yeah, then it would be which former NFL player, South Carolina Hall of Famer would take you out. It would just here in the recruiting process, you said he didn't deserve to be a 5-star, and he's gonna just that one clean shot on Kornblut that so many people have dreamed about over the years. That one clean shot. Speaking of clean shots for media members, you saw what Coach Franklin up at Penn State's doing for their spring game. He's got media.
I did not see that.
He is challenging media members to come down of all the fans, as he put it, 85,000, and catch punts and kickoffs, and he wants to put them under the gun. It was clear what he was doing. He was even calling some guys out by name. He wants to get them out there, the guys that write about it. He wanted to put them out there to show them how hard it is and try to embarrass them in front of 85,000 fans. I would love that to happen. But when he would invite us out.
Well, you know what?
Will Champ.
All right.
The Pascal.
You know what? Let's be fair then. Let's be fair. Let's be fair. We'll do that, but then come work our job.
Mm-hmm.
Sports Talk Show, pick up on a pad football game under deadline and write your story, get your quotes, get your pictures, get your stat, get it all lined up, get it ready for your editor, and get it in on deadline and let it make sense. And then
it was like when Bubba Watson
or getting a damn story written.
Yeah, when Bubba Watson made his comments after getting cut at the Masters about how golf's hard and writing's easy, and somebody said, "All right, well, write a column on deadline, unedited, and we'll just post it, and we'll see how that looks, and we'll see how easy it is." Go, and then he apologized. It's not as I mean, everybody's got a job to do. We all have a job to do. We all have a job to do.
Yeah. All right. We're going to be back after the top of the hour break. Don't go away.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts, Sports Talk, Phil Kornblum, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Okay, we're back at Sports. We are up in Greenville Football Hall of Fame induction ceremonies, and they have been very kind to work with us. Week away from what will be one of the biggest days in his life. He's had many big days. This is going to rank right up there. Thank you for coming over.
No, thank you for having me.
Great seeing you one more time before we really lose you. This is this time you belong today to South Carolina. Right. This time next Thursday, you'll belong to the world. Right. So how are you feeling?
I feel great. I'm blessed. I'm thankful. Enjoying the whole process and just taking it one day at a time.
Are you nervous?
Not nervous, kind of anxious, kind of just –
how much do you look at the internet and look at the mock just to see where think you're going?
I don't pay any attention to it. Of course, I see it because I'm on social media and people kind of tweet at me or post, and I kind of see it, because it pops up. But as far as me directing and trying to look for it, no, I don't pay any attention to it.
I mean, it's crazy. One day I see you going 6 to the Jets. Next day I see you going 25th to the Texans. I mean, What is it with these people?
It's kind of, I have no idea. Every year there's always a good trade. People trading up, people trading down. So you never know where you're going to be at. And honestly, talking to the team, I don't even know if they really want. So until the day, until they get in that situation, that pressure moment.
But sometimes a player has a feeling because he's talked a lot to it. Right. They've come and worked him out a lot. You've seen a lot of their coaches. You've seen the GM, the head coach, the team owner. Anybody fit that category with you?
There's been a lot of teams. All the visits and workouts been great. Always every visit and workout, I've seen the head coach, GM, owner. So it's just kind of, for me, it's up there in the air. And it's kind of weird how it works because, talking to people that's been in the previous experience, they said the same thing. They see this team a lot, but the team that they didn't see a lot was the team that drafted them. And so it's kind of weird how it works.
How do you feel? What would you say to the people who say he's not going to be a first-round pick? He's second. What do you people like that?
Hey, I just, I can go days. I can bring out the national trophy, or I just, for real, honestly, I just kind of, hey, it's hands out. It's out of my control. Whatever happens, happens. I just want to play football and play a long time.
The workouts that you've been through for the various teams, you can think of where you thought, man, I would today.
I didn't have too many. I've only had 2 or 3, and every workout's probably the same. Kind of different drills and what they do, and kind of just it's not always the same. So it's whatever the coach wants you to do, whatever type of stuff, type of throws, and every workout's been great. Every team's been impressed, and so I'm just ready to figure out what I'm going to be.
All right, last thing because you got to go. You'll be up there in Philly next Thursday. So as one leaves, the camera shines on the guys left in there. I mean, are you prepared for maybe a quick exit, or are you prepared for what could be maybe an extended stay on Thursday evening until your name is called?
I'm prepared for the quick exit. That's what I'm hoping for and praying for. But if I'm sitting in there for a while, then hey, we're gonna enjoy it. It's a blessing to be in that room. It's an honor, and I'm just gonna have a smile on my face and just kind of chill out and hang with the family and people.
You're thinking Jets 6th?
Cleveland 1.
Cleveland 1. Why not?
Why not?
Well, there's talk too. There's talk of well, they're thinking Cleveland 2. They make a trade. Some guy today had you going 2nd.
It's just kind of, you never know.
Yeah.
Trades, and it's a poker game. That's one thing I realized. And we want to show your hand, show your move.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, we got to let you go, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Good luck. All right, Deshaun Watson, we thank the folks here at the Hall of Fame. giving us a few minutes with him because they got ceremony already underway, and they got him over here to us for a couple of minutes, and we thank them for that. And do we have Perry with us now? Very good. Let's go from one starting quarterback. Let's go from one starting quarterback at Clemson to a former starting quarterback at South Carolina, Perry Orth, following up on the heels of Deshaun Watson. How?
I wanted to get on and tell him that, hey, man, I know that I'm rooting for you, and that opinion on him, I think that he's the best player in this draft right now. I've played against a lot of the top that are looking to get taken, whether it's Derek Barnett or from LSU or obviously I played like Deshaun for 2 years now, and he was one of the best kids that I've seen play college football, and one of the best players that we played against in my entire career. So hats off to him. He did a great job for the Tigers, and I'm looking for nothing but success from him.
Really, I mean, some of the scouts are saying the kid North Carolina, Trubisky, could be picked ahead of him, and he's a fine quarterback too. But like you, Perry, I mean, and we're a little bit partial here because we're too much, but when you add up the entire package, the winning, the numbers, and I'll look at too, if you want to make the best argument, just take his 2 games in the national championship setting against Alabama and tell me a quarterback that could have done what he did against that Alabama defense for two consecutive years.
That I always would bring up is, I mean, he played in the biggest stage in college football. He played in back-to-back national championship games against, hands down, the best defense back-to-back years in college football. The only defense that may have been better the whole year was Clemson's defense, and he saw them every day and practiced them up too. So stuff's nothing new. I mean, he seems like an awesome kid. I got to say, a few words to him after our game a few years back. Told him played really well, and that we were really, he's a good guy, and it's always guys like him and be very humble. A lot of guys carry themselves in an arrogant manner that not a lot of people like. And as a GM and as a scout and a coach, I don't see how you couldn't, a quarterback like that.
Absolutely. We're with Perry Orth, who actually lives up in Greenville, and we connected with Perry last week and lined him up because you now, besides having a career in business, you are also coaching quarterbacks, working in quarterback camps, your own quarterback camps, working with some of the up-and-coming quarterbacks in the. You've got an event coming up Saturday in Academy in Columbia. Fill us in on that, and if people can still get in, what should they do?
Like you said, I'm coaching quarterbacks, and I've opened up my own quarterback training and development business, QB1 Athletics. You can find us online at QB1athletics.com and on Twitter as well. And like you had mentioned, I have a camp on from 12 to 4. We're going to have quarterbacks, receivers, and defensive backs, and we're going to do some instructional drills about an hour. Then we're going to throw routes to the receivers, and then we're going to do one-on-ones. We're going to let the kids compete. We're going to have multiple coaches out there. We got Matrick Belton and Jordan Diggs, 2 former game with me and played throughout my career, and it's been really awesome to see. Expecting around 50 to 60 kids for our first camp, and it's pretty good. And I mean, every single day we're getting more calls to train more kids, and I've seen some pretty talented kids and a lot of different kids from all across the state about to train. And I've done doing one thing I try to explain to kids is that I'm coaching them at a collegiate level. I don't care if they're in 12th grade. I'm going to coach them to get them ready to play as if I were getting myself ready to play. And I think that's what has separated me from maybe a few other people that do it, and what has made me so attractive to the people that I've trained so far. And it's been an incredible experience. I love it. I didn't think I'd want to get into coaching, but the more I'm around the game, the happier I am. And I think this is my way
right.
to.
Hang on one second, Perry. We're going to jump to a break here, and we'll come back more with Perry Orth talking football here on. Starting quarterback. Let's go from one starting quarterback.
Thank you.
Look, all right, Deshaun Watson, thank the folks here at the Hall of Fame for giving us a few minutes with him. We got him over here to us for a couple pretty underway, and they got All right, we're back at Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network from Up and Grill here for the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. Came back first pitch in Gainesville is just a few minutes away, and the Gamecocks hope to hit it out of the ballpark tonight. Down there at the MAC, Founders is hitting the ballpark too. Founders Federal Credit Union's new office in Columbia at the Common, Full Street. And you can visit at the USC campus, the EMs at the Russell House. Relax, join founders.com to see if you qualify for membership. All right, back to Perry Orth. Had to jump in for a commercial break there, Perry, and thank you for holding. So can reach out to you, get involved with this camp Saturday or any future camps that you might have.
You can reach out just if you go on our website, which is qb1athletics.com. Contact information on there has my and my business partner's cell phone number along with our email. Go from the homepage, QB1 Athletics has all the kids that we're training, kind of the style of camps that we run. We also are one-on-one personalized training as well as quarterback group training, and we try to keep the groups between, from anywhere from 2 to 5 kids. That way I'm still getting that hands-on personalized coaching. Popular thing right now, it's a little cheaper than the one-on-one, and kids are still able to get that attention while also competing with other kids from all over the state. And it's been a really, really awesome couple months doing it, and I really enjoy it. And I think the kids that I've been training really enjoy it well.
Ask you, I mean, you're talking about training the kids, and I know part of what you did there at the end of Gamecock career was train some of the youngsters on the Gamecock roster, including the guy that your successor in Jake Bentley. What kind of player do you think he's going to be next season and going forward for the Gamecocks?
An absolute fantastic ball player. I think Jake's obviously a talented kid. I saw it from the time we were catching in the summer. He had a lot of ability. I think what goes unnoticed is his work ethic. You know, a lot of people gave me credit for, you helped Jake Ben, you did this, you did. Well, Jake was asking me to help him. Now, obviously, I wanted to reach out and help us because I wanted to win, but also, pushed me to help him better. And so we still competing in practice. And I was trying my best to push him, and he was pushing me, and we were just getting everybody around us was getting better. I think you could see that as the season progressed, and his work ethic is what really separates him from a lot of kids his age. And kids don't really understand, especially when you're a high-profile recruit. You're used to being the best in your state, the best kid at every camp you go to, everything. And he's extremely talented, but he realized that he wanted to play and to play early. He had to bust it, and he did, and I think his hard work showed off. So I'm really excited to see him and see how our offense progresses this fall.
And I also wanted to ask you, because today is Steve Spurrier's 72nd birthday, and I know you got to spend, of course, you were around him a lot, and I wondered if you could share with us for his birthday, in honor of Steve Spurrier's 72nd, one of your favorite go-to Steve Spurrier stories.
Oh, man. Well, there's one of them. I don't even know to begin. Coach Spurrier was a heck of a coach, man. He really knew. No one knew how to call plays but Coach Spurrier. There's some guys that can do the X's and O's, but, man, when he was on, he was feeling no one called it better than him. And when he was in his prime, and we had some ball players, man, we had some teams up at Carolina, and obviously they speak for themselves and what he had at Florida. But probably should there. And there's it was really funny, when you make bad read or one bad practice or one bad pass in practice, he'd kind of look at you and be like, all right, next quarterback. And you'd be like, oh, man. Or, there are times where he's told multiple kids on our team, they'd be like, we would be watching film and and they'd be like, oh, well, what are you doing? They'd be like, oh, coaching. He's like, sorry, I'm the one who's I gave you a he'd tear into people, and it was all in good fun, and he just made it really funny for the guys when we were watching film, and he really pushed the quarterbacks, and he was a treat to play for, and I know for a fact that if I ever bumped into him, whether it was at a Carolina game or if I went to Florida or wherever it may be, he could instantly pick up right where we left off when he had decided to the program, and we had that kind of relationship. So it was really, really sad to go when he did, but so he made the best decision that it is.
Talking with Perry Orth, former USC quarterback, and now a quarterback coach instructor on the side. And to follow up on K-Mac's question and your answer, I mean, you don't sound like there's any bitterness towards Steve Spurrier from your standpoint? The fact that he basically, I mean, let's just say what he did. He quit on you guys mid-season. It would be easy to understand how there would be some bitterness from a player standpoint. Maybe, but inside that locker room, can you share with us what it was like the day after, a few days after he basically said, you know, guys, I can't continue, whatever the reason he told you guys in private. How did you guys feel about that behind the scenes?
We really bizarre, the way that he just kind of up and left. The way that I do and how close I got with him and all the quarterbacks do is that, like I'd mentioned, you know, you make one bad pass in practice and he said next guy up, and that's kind of what he felt like he was doing. The year before, and we were kind of on the downslope that year, and he said, you know what, I know that I'm not doing the best job for this program right now, and next man up. So I've left in the middle of the year, but then again, understanding coach and how he is, that that would only make sense for Coach Spurrier to do that. And you know, he in his opinion, and honestly in mine, I think he did what was best for the team, because some of the games that we were playing in, but man, we really made it a contest with everybody all the way going down the wire with number one Clemson. You know, I mean, we went toe to toe and back down from anybody, and not that it's about, you know, competing and trying your hardest, but every single ball game we played, we were, you know, a drive or two or a play or two away from winning those ball games. So we couldn't pull out some of them. I'm not, you know, I don't really know, but and Coach Elliott did a great job with us part of that year, and you know, that's just kind of how it goes sometimes.
Let's say we'll let you go. 2015 at Texas A&M, with a 64-yard run. It looked like no one was going to catch you, and like we're wondering, where in the heck did that come from? So, where in the heck did that come from?
Yeah, I'm not sure why people always, I think they just discredited my ability because I was a walk-on. A lot of people don't know that my sophomore year, I tested with the radar gun. And I clocked out at 56 miles an hour 3 times. And, you know, I was running a 4.7 40-yard dash. So I think people just, you know, oh, he's a walk-on, so he's stereotyped, not as athletic, not very fast, but get scholarships out of high school was, you know, being a 6-foot quarterback, but, you know, average isn't going to get you those big time scholarship offers. And I had taken plenty of visits in high school and to different places that, you know, they just ended up not pulling the trigger on me. And that's kind of where my decision came to walk on. I wanted to take it shake a little bit out there. I wish they would have let me run a few more times.
Well, listen, man, you did a great job when you got your chance in South Carolina, and wish you the best of luck. And we'll be keeping with you and get back to us next time you have a special event, and we'll talk more about it.
You guys have me on, and Cox.
Thank you, Perry Orth, for USC quarterback. All right, so we went from Deshaun Watson to Perry Orth. So hey, you know what? Fair and balanced.
Yeah.
Here on Sports Talk.
We report,
Clemson
you decide.
Quarterback, Gamecock quarterback. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Cornball Bill O'Reilly.
But not talking smack to any women. No, sir. Not going to go down that path. Not interested.
Yeah. Good call.
All right, we'll be back, and we'll give you the recruiting report and talk some baseball. USC and Florida about to get underway. We're back in a moment. Our recruiting coming up here in just a moment. Our South Carolina, Florida baseball about to get underway. We'll talk about that in a moment. Our friends at South Carolina Forestry remind you insects and diseases can be moved hundreds of miles and threaten forests and campsites, neighborhoods, state and national parks. Help protect the trees you love by purchasing firewood at or near where you burn it. For more information, movefirewood.org. All right, to the recruiting report tonight. Since I'm in a room surrounded by Clemson fans, state media, tonight consists of every major football player in the country wants to go to Clemson. And that is our recruiting report for tonight. I hear you laughing came out.
Some laughter because I, don't usually laugh at most of what you say because I don't find it. That was just creepy. That's just a creepy laugh there, Jared. Now I'm creeped out in.
It really is. That's
like get a restraining order.
Dennis Smith, who picked up a Clemson offer in early March, but when he decided to pass on the Tigers' spring game in favor of the one at Florida State, he said he did so because the Tigers weren't showing strong interest and didn't feel like he was a priority for them. That's all changed now. He said Clemson has come on strong with them a lot, which got. He said they were miscommunicating. He had got owned. It was just a lot of communication issues, is what he said. So they've been in touch a lot, and Clemson is very much, he said, back in the hunt with plans to visit Clemson again, but hasn't set a date. USC, too, remains a player with him in regular contact. Might return for a game. No coach. The coaches to come in once spring practice begins in May. There are no favorites right now, but USC, Duke, Virginia Tech, and Georgia have been recruiting him the hardest. He also has offers from Florida State, Indiana, Virginia Tech, East Carolina, and others. Quarterback Chase Wolf of Cincinnati of campuses this week. He went to Wisconsin. Also been to SC, Duke, NC State, Carolina, Boston College, Indiana, and Cincinnati. And now that the Wisconsin visit is over, he's going to start working on shortening his list. This on absolute favorite. He's in touch with USC quarterback Roper regularly and is looking to get more information from him about his position on the Gamecocks quarterback board. He's sure where he is on the Gamecocks board. That's something he needs to have clarified. The schools that have offered him, Boston College, Iowa State, and he thinks Wisconsin, have him high up on their board, if not at the top. Might take a second visit to USC and possibly Boston. USC and BC remain his top two, and they are about equal. Former Blythewood receiver Jordan Adams, if you missed this last night, now lives in Cary, North Carolina. And his top five is Ohio State, Alabama, North Carolina, LSU. And is in the final 10 with defensive back Anthony Houston, also Notre Dame, Florida, Southern Cal, LSU, Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas. Target linebacker Williams, Georgia, was offered by Oklahoma. Dorian Gerald, College Canyons, California, and Florence, was offered by Texas Tech. He, of course, is a USC target. USC offered 3 teammates out of St. Louis 2019 class. Linebacker Shaman Cooper, receiver Marcus Washington, athlete Isaiah 6'8", this is basketball, 6'8", John Walker III of Texas, who's getting USC interest, was offered by Arizona State. Clemson was in to see 6'8" Evan Cole of Cumming, Georgia on Tuesday. Today he's at Georgia Tech. Saturday, Vanderbilt. He had thought about a Clemson visit Saturday. It was never finalized. He is still considering a visit with the Tigers. Clemson offered 2018 6'8" small forward Pete Nance of Richfield, Ohio. He is the son of former Clemson star Larry Nance and his brother, the Lakers. That would be Larry Nance Jr. 6'4" Memphis graduate transfer, 6'4" Marquette Crawford, reportedly planned as at USC. reportedly can be Ole Miss will visit there on Wednesday. Those plans. There you go. With recruiting, and it's available for you 24/7, 365, 366 in leap years on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and on Twitter. Use the hashtag STRecruiting to take you to all of our information. All right, so the Gamecocks at the top of the first went down in order. Cortez struck out swinging, and Cullen grounded out third. So Clark Schmidt goes down to face the Gators. Alex Faedo, or K-Mac, of course, game's underway. We let's see, was it Tuesday night? Yeah, I guess it was Tuesday night. Chad Holbrook talked with them. Something jumped out at all of us. Getting away from the hometown fans, and we got a little something here, kind of comparing and contrasting Chad Holbrook and Monty Lee and their approach to dealing with pressure. Is that something you put together?
Yeah, well, we have. First of all, I want to play Holbrook. The Gamecocks are 6-2 on the road, and he's kind of touched on this a few times. He hit on this for the Mississippi State game. He kind of dropped in. I think, sometimes, believe it or not, I think we play better on the road, and their record is better on the road in terms of their winning percentage, but took it a step farther when he was talking the game against Davidson on Tuesday night.
Played well on the road, and sometimes we take a deep breath and sometimes we got less people on the road yelling at our players than we do. They relax them.
He kind of walked that back a little bit, but it was actually put out on Twitter. Matt Connolly, the trick quote. It riled up some Gamecock fans, and it's such a sensitive relationship, a fickle relationship, Corn, between Gamecock fans and Gamecock baseball. And he walked it back a little bit, saying he had heard some during the game that it upset him. Of course, Bry got the big hit, and he was kind of lashing out because he was upset in South Carolina because of Ray Tanner, number one, and the fans and Founders Park, number two. So he here that he wasn't trying to paint all the fans with that brush, but the damage is done. I mean, they. To me, you're just adding more pressure to your peers when you do that. Pressure on your team when you things like that, because they feel like they have to go out, perform, because they're not playing for you to win the game. They're their coach, and those guys look like a guy that had an ERA over 8 on Tuesday night. I mean, I think they're pressed, and I think it's up to Chad Brook. I can't control the fan, and I don't fair that the fan every game, an indictment on his coaching ability. Everything's a referendum every time he manages one game or one series. That's not fair. He can't do that. And he's got to let his players, and he's got to tune that out, and they just have to play baseball.
I agree with you 100%. I think he's got right here at time as a coach. You can respond to every piece of criticism that's on Twitter, that's on the internet, that's on the radio, that's in the newspaper. I mean, first of all, it's a distraction to you. You should be focused on your team, what's happening in the locker room, preparing for practice, preparing for the next game. Fear to the noise out there, and even if you do hear it, you can respond to it. I mean, if you want to read it, want to hear it, okay, fine. But win that battle with the fans if you try to take them on, because in this world, this age, it ain't a winning battle by any means. We'll talk more about it coming up. Gamecocks and the Gators away, bottom of the first, no score in Gainesville. Back in a moment. All right, at the top of the second, and Clark Schmidt did his job in the bottom of the no runs being scored, and let's see if he gave up anything at all. He did give up a walk, but no run. Okay, the Gamecocks threw out a base runner too. They've got a little bit better at that here late.
They have.
They're being criticized about that late. Are up at the top of the second already, 2 up and 2 downs, 5 up and 5 down.
Spoiled
so the
it
game
for me,
got
Corin.
6 point. Now Clemson.
My feet's a little bit behind. Thanks.
What?
I mean, I'm watching it. There's only one out of feed here. And now it's ruined for me.
I'm sorry. I'll give you a warning.
Hey, how are the Celtics quick? I haven't had a chance to watch any of the NBA playoffs. How are the Celtics? I mean, they're just taking care of business as a 1 seed. I'm sure have they that series.
Yeah. They got as many wins as they do with the post year.
That's impressive. Okay, good.
Anyway, I want to turn my attention to Clemson here real quick because it's trying to catch Louisville in their division. They are a game behind last night against Georgia. In typical Clemson fashion, fell behind, took the lead, built a pretty big lead, and then held on. And Monty Lee, well, you can lead into it, but he talked about dealing with the pressures of the games and how he worked with his players on dealing with pressure and trying to stay loose.
Yeah, he did have to deal with some pressure on how to stay loose. And they had lost 2 in a row at Florida State, and he was asked, was there extra pressure to get back on track with a big ACC series against a top 20 Wake Forest team coming in? And you can hear his response.
The anxiety and the pressure of winning and just focusing on the outcome so much, is really not the best way to play baseball. It's not the best way to do anything in life, quite honestly. We're very process driven here, and all we want our guys to do is compete every single pitch of every single ball game to the best of their ability.
Yeah. Okay, that was the whole clip. Okay, I thought it was a little bit longer there, but you can hear the difference between Monty Lee talking to like Candy and how he's just trusting the process and telling his players not to get caught up. Hey, we got to get a win. We lost 2 at Florida State. And that's the thing about baseball is you really can't get uptight and have that pressure. And this is what Jack Leggett ran into at Clemson. That's why Monty Lee's there. It wasn't that Jack Leggett forgot how to coach. He's the Hall of Best ever to coach in college baseball. But it got so, the pressure got to the point where he was pressing. All the players wanted so badly. I'll never forget being at the ACC tournament when they thought he might get fired then, and there were players crying after they got eliminated from the ACC tournament thinking that Jack Leggett was going to be fired, and they didn't want that. They loved the guy, and that's what happens. And you have these players at South Carolina, I think, that are pressing, and they like Chad Holbrook. They want to win for him. They want to get the fans off his back. But when you're pressing like that, it's hard to perform. And what's happened is Monty Lee came in there with a lot of the same players that Jack Leggett had and recruited, and he has just changed the culture and let everybody take a breath and let some oxygen get in the room. And, the rest is history, so to speak.
Yeah. All right, speaking of a Clemson head coach, Dabo Swinney. Ooh, a little bit of controversy. You hear about this?
What's that?
Dabo Swinney was supposed to be in Charleston tonight for the annual Prowl and Growl tour stop in the Low Country.
His son had a baseball game. That's not a controversy.
He canceled because he's attending his son Will's senior night baseball game at Daniel High School, a game that had to be rescheduled. Okay. Blowing off the Prowl and Growl.
Well, for his son. What a terrible thing. Oh, let's see. Yeah, I need to go to you're a despicable human being, Corn. You want the guy to blow off his son Will's senior day in baseball to go down to a Prowl and Growl in North Charleston. They did make little Hunter Renfroe signed 1,000 Sports Illustrated to make up for it, though. So Hunter Renfroe has carpal tunnel syndrome now. But there's a lot of happy Tigers.
Yeah, Hunter Renfroe. Hunter Renfroe was going to be there. Tony Elliott, Brad Brownell, Dan Radakovich. Okay, before people get all twisted at me, I was just Dabo's doing the right thing to be at his son's senior night baseball game. That is the right thing to do. Yeah, but the Prowl and Growl tour is getting underway, and I guess what USC has the Spurs Up tour, and that'll be getting underway as well here with Will Muschamp getting around the state. Prowl and Growl, that's a good thing, and that's a good catchphrase for Clemson. And I like the Spurs Up thing that Muschamp started at South Carolina. I think that's catchy, and I think as they become more successful, that will catch on even more. It seems like it's working in recruiting. The folks that he's recruiting, they use that hashtag Spurs Up. That seems to be South Carolina's becoming a little bit more savvy along the lines of Twitter and Instagram and the videos and all that. Something that Muschamp really energized when he took over, because that wasn't something that Steve Spurrier was deeply into.
Right. No. Steve Spurrier wasn't deeply into anything other than calling ball plays, which, as Perry Orr said, he was very, very good at. Playing golf, which he was very, very good at. Talking to the media, which he was very, very good at. Telling stories, which he was very, very good at. Those were the things that Steve Spurrier was into. Busting his tail on the recruiting trail, that just wasn't him. I mean, and he didn't hire guys mentality. Spurrier was a turn the lights off, boys. Let's go have a beer. Let's go play golf. And it worked for him his whole career. I'm not, this isn't a slight on Steve Spurrier. It worked for his entire career until it got away from him at the very end. But, his days at Florida, he was the same way. He did everything the same way at South Carolina as he did at Florida. And he won at South Carolina at a level that no one else has ever done before or since. So you can't knock him, but he was just a throwback in that style. He used to make fun of guys that would work 18-hour days and sleep at the office and go out and recruit. Because he'd say, you have a top 5 class, I'll beat you with my number 15 class.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was talking with Dick Sheridan about, too, when he was on with us earlier about, is coaching still important? People put so much emphasis on recruiting and the star rankings and this, that, and the other. And what about coaching and development? And you could tell he liked getting the less talented player and developing him. And I think Spurrier enjoyed that as well, getting that less talented player, especially at quarterback, and developing him. Unfortunately, at South Carolina, if he had a shortcoming throughout his tenure there, was he never developed that steady stream of good quarterbacks into his program. He had a bunch of misses. I mean, Garcia could have been an outstanding quarterback if he didn't have all the off-the-field distractions going on. He really could have been a record-setting quarterback and done all kind of great things. Connor Shaw obviously came in and did. But Connor was not that heavily recruited quarterback. He's a guy that G.A. Mangus saw in high school, loved him for the kind of offense they wanted to run, and it worked out great for him. A bunch of misses when it comes down to quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, the best quarterback at South Carolina in the past, talent anyway. I mean, Stephen Garcia was a big talent, but the most talented quarterback, it's ironic, Will Muschamp might have the best quarterback that South Carolina's had in 2 decades, and he wasn't supposed to be the quarterback guru and offensive mind, but I don't think Spurrier never had a guy like Bentley in his program.
No. Okay, we got to run. Bottom of the second. They are scoreless in Gainesville. Thanks for being with us. Have a great night.